Okay, that was weird. Okay, so we're recording now. So welcome to week 2 of our Go Pro. We are going to be discussing chapters 2, 3, and 4 from Eric Worre's book. I'm not going to talk as much this week. I want to hear from more people about what your takeaways are and how we're going to actually apply this information to our businesses and just really get us proactive. So, let's see, and let's just talk first of all about, in chapter 2, it's really about deciding to go pro. I loved the examples and descriptions of poser, amateur, and professional. Let's see, and his definition of a professional is a person who's an expert at the skills required to build a large and successful network marketing organization. So it's cool to find out that you can be an expert, and you do so by developing these skills, and it takes time and practice. I definitely can relate to really poser, amateur, and professional. Well, I don't know that I can relate to poser. I've seen poser a lot in this business. Those are the people hoping to hit it big with as little effort as possible. They're the ones who are looking at this as a lottery ticket. They come up with 3 people in mind. They contact those 3 people, and whether or not they succeed or fail completely depends upon those 3 people's responses. And often, if they're not taking it that seriously, the conversations that they have with those 3 people, I can't imagine, how that really goes. So I would say it's very rare for a poser to become that lucky person that they're wanting. With the amateurs, hoping to get lucky, signing that monster distributor, looking for that rock star instead of wanting to be the rock star. Doesn't serve our profession well. Definitely just spend time hoping for that big hit. A lot of people are looking either for that rock star, or what I've seen a lot specifically with Plexus are the people who think, well, if I can just get my doctor's office on board. Maybe some of us in here have thought that, and everybody seems to kind of think that they're the first person to consider that, or maybe they think they're the first person to talk about Plexus specifically with their doctor. And a lot of times it's not the case. Sometimes it is. And different medical professionals have different opinions about, if they want to put their name behind a particular product, or, how they feel about having that in the office at all. There's different things like that. But I've seen that specifically with Plexus a lot. People just thinking, well, if I can just sign that doctor, or I can get the office manager in the doctor's office to be an ambassador, and they can, all the nurses can tell them to place orders through there. Why wouldn't they do it? But it's never that simple. So maybe some of us in here have talked to a doctor or doctor's office about that, and then figured out, oh, it's not quite that simple. Amateurs worried about timing, worried about saturation in their market, worried about what team they're on, looking to blame someone and just not really taking responsibility, looking for a gimmick, an angle. All of that's distraction instead of just getting down to work, talking to more people about your products and your business, and finding success that way. Let's see. Yeah, when you decide to go pro, I love it at the end where he says enthusiasm is great, but eventually you need to marry that passion with skill. And so it's great when we get into figuring out what those skills are. I have a lot of things like circled and highlighted and marked up in here. I really liked this. Let's see. Yeah, talking about becoming an expert. Like, actually, my husband was watching the Barrett Jackson car auction stuff right now that's happening in Scottsdale. He loves all that car stuff, and there's this car collector expert guy, And I was thinking to him, and I was thinking about it while he was watching that, like, how does he become an expert at what cars are collectible and their rating and like all this? And it made me think of when Eric said this in this book, that it takes approximately 10,000 hours of practice to reach the expert level at anything. And it's cool to know that no matter what, you know, we've got this level playing field in network marketing. Doesn't matter what your education background is, your socioeconomic status, like none of that matters. We all have the same opportunity, and depending on your effort and how much you really work on developing skills, there are skills to develop, and over time, as you work on developing those skills, you're going to yield better results. Your ROI is going to be better. You're going to be attracting the right kind of people to your business. Those kinds of things actually happen. And now that I've been with Plexus in over 3 years, I recognize the growth in myself, in understanding and living some of this out and seeing, man, he is spot on. It's also really cool that we can earn money while we're becoming an expert in this. How many of those other fields where you can become an expert are you actually getting, you know, a decent paycheck that actually gives you a raise, potentially? You know, this is a really cool place to be. So that's exciting, and it should be encouraging that if we're willing to put in the work, better things are ahead. So that's exciting. I also thought about, let's see, when page 25, he was saying once he decided to go pro, it was like people could sense my change of focus and my commitment to excellence, and they wanted to be a part of it. That made me think of John Maxwell's law of attraction. If you want to attract a certain kind of person, you need to project that you have some of those same qualities. If you're the kind of person on your social media that's constantly complaining about everything, you're probably turning off a lot of people. You want to be the kind of person that people want to be around, or the kind of person that people are inspired by. So think about what you're attracting. What you're putting out there is what you're going to get back. All right, so those were my highlights of chapter 2. Does anybody have anything that they want to share about chapter 2 that stood out to them, or how maybe you can apply some of this specifically to your business? Anybody want to share? Anybody got anything? Should we go on to chapter 3?
I just want to point, I think that it's really important what we focus on. But like he said, you know, focusing on the money or focusing on how many people isn't really the focus that we need to be on. It just needs to be the skill set. And I mean, that's why I'm here. Now I'm your level 5. I'm way down, but I happen to be blessed to see you a couple of weeks ago. So now I'm on here following you. But I think it's really important to follow success and to learn from you. I mean, I've read the GoPro twice, and this is my 3rd time to be on my 2nd time to be on a book club. But I think it's important that we focus on things. And when we do, you know, we can't help but succeed. The language that we use with ourselves is what gets us there.
That's so true. It is a good point. If you surround yourself with the kind of people that you would like to emulate, or fill your head with positivity, building belief in yourself, good things will come from that. Yeah, it's that positive mindset is so important. Absolutely. Okay, so in chapter 3, he starts talking about, you know, the need for skill. Chapter 4, we're going to actually talk about his first skill that he's got here. But in chapter 3, what's really cool is you're not going to need a lot of money to learn the skills. Yay. But there's 3 primary elements to your network marketing business. So who wants to tell me what those 3 are? There's 2 of them that are part of the company. And then the 3rd element is something else. So what was the first one? The company's what?
Products.
Yes. The second one is the company's
Compensation plan.
Compensation plan.
Yep. And what's the third element that's the most important?
Me. You.
That's right. One thing that stood out to me, or that came to mind about the products, says everyone in your company has the same products to offer to the public. It made me think, Celeste has shared, when Jen Hawkins and Celeste Glenn and Suzanne Clinton went to their first convention, Sheila Medina, she was the first diamond, she was up on the stage and they were recognizing her, and Celeste has said that she sat there and it just hit her. Sheila has the same pink drink I do. If she can do this, why can't I? And it just made her go, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. This is possible. So think about that. We have awesome products. We have products that deliver. Thank goodness. They deliver results. People love them. And they can have a 6 money back guarantee if they're not fully in love with them. So that's awesome. But it's so cool to see these people who we look at this unicorn leprechaun level. They have the same products we do. And we have an amazing compensation plan where there's not a limit to how many people can reach the top or how many people can make $1,000 in a month. We're talking some really life-changing things. So it's the same for everyone. The opportunity is there for anyone, which is great. But really the only variable is ourselves. So we've got to take responsibility. So Erin, we were talking, Erin Martino earlier this week. She said she actually typed this message out to me, but it didn't send through the phone. It didn't work, but it was about that. I want to thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate, that you brought me into this. I may ask for help from time to time, and sometimes you may respond and you may not, and that's okay. So that was funny that Erin was going to do that, and show me she's reading her stuff, and she's hilarious. But I just loved the independence. Lacey Cook and I have talked a lot about how there are certain people, the people who will not require the hand holding, the people who will just dig down and search through the Facebook groups or look through the knowledge base in back office, or contact customer service directly, or the people who will just take responsibility, be independent, find their own answers, figure it out on their own. Those are the people that we see succeeding all the time. It doesn't mean that they're the only ones who will succeed, but those people, you can just know, you can just depend on the fact that they're going to stick around. They're the kind of people. So maybe on your prospecting list, the people maybe you should figure out the people who seem to be that kind of a personality, those independent people, put a star by their name, because those are the kinds of people you want. You don't want everybody on your team to need you all the time. You guide them just like parenting, and then you flee the roost. That's not what you say. What do you say? You flee the roost. Flee the coop? What am I saying?
They leave the coop.
They leave the coop. They sprout their wings and they do something. That happens.
You don't want to leave the coop and you're homeless.
Anyway, those kinds of people are great people to seek out. It's great. Okay. So what else in that chapter 3? Anything? Oh, let's see. He said something about. He said, say goodbye to your, I wrote this out and then I didn't. Say goodbye to your what? Oh, maybe it was your upline.
It was your upline.
Say goodbye to your upline.
Yep. The blame game, that's really easy to fall into that trap. It's a distraction. And actually there's someone I know who's in a different network marketing company who was talking recently about the process of she's moving teams because this other team is just rocking and rolling, and she just knows if she joins that team that her business is going to take off. And it made me sad hearing this conversation, because she was focused so much on looking for the reason something wasn't working instead of just like getting down and doing some more work or trying something a different way or expanding, or, you know, like that other team that's rocking and rolling, they have the same products that the team she's currently on has. They have the same comp plan. Maybe, you know, maybe it's not the team you're on. Maybe we've got to just take responsibility. So anyway, it kind of made me sad. And it was just this past week that I had heard about that, or that she was sharing about it. I don't know what company she's with. I just know it's not Plexus. So anyway, anything else from chapter 3 before we get into really talking about this first specific skill he has for us? Oh, Emily.
I don't. Me, or is it muted?
Huh?
Can you hear me, or is it muted?
I can hear you, Emily.
So, well, I just like looked at this and I've thought about like other network marketing companies that like in the past I thought, oh, you know, one day if I find myself being bored and wanting to do something, you know, like maybe that would be the company I would go with. But like in thinking about all of those companies that I've thought about, and then versus Plexus, like number one, you have the company's products, and like that right there is the biggest advantage, is that we have products that people need, that change people's lives, and that people use every day and need month after month after month. And so automatically, you know, you're in the right company because of that. It's not just something like, oh, I really like cooking, so I'm going to buy some cooking stuff, or I really like eyelashes. I don't know, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's not really personal preference. It's like things that everybody could use.
In a second.
Yeah.
And
it's
also, I really just liked how the focus is on you as a person. And I think that something that people are looking for is like equal opportunity. And they're looking for, a lot of people are looking for a job that pretty much has nothing to do with their college degrees, because they're not able to get a job with what their degree is in. And I know that's true for my generation and a lot of people that I'm surrounded by every day. So I work at a university, so, and I'm in theater, so nobody's making money there. Yeah, like this is just a great thing for people that want an opportunity that they don't have to spend 4 years and, you know, the average of $40,000, which is the average cost of, or the average amount that people are taking out in student loans for their 4-year degrees, up to $80,000. You know, you don't have to take out any kind of debt like that. Like you literally just have to pay $35.
right.
Which I think is insane, because people, you know, are taking out insane amounts of debt and getting skills and then not being able to use them. And I'm definitely one of those people that's kind of in that boat, which is why I've fallen in love with network marketing.
Yeah.
So, and I just love that it's dependent on you. It's not dependent on who's going to hire you. It's just dependent on you and the time you put in.
It's so true. I love it. Micah, you've got your hand up. Wait, let's see. Are you muted? Micah? I can't hear you, Micah. Where'd you go?
Can you hear me?
I hear Noel.
Here, I'll give him the iPad.
Okay.
I must have muted myself.
All right, there you go.
Okay. It's like from chapter 2 to chapter 3, what I was thinking about, he states that, and everybody kind of is aware of this, we go through college, doctors, professional athletes devote so much of their time, all the countless hours, years, days, months, everything, to devote themselves to a profession and like be a pro, be a doctor, be a professional athlete, whatever it is. But when it comes to network marketing, everybody drops the ball. Not everybody, obviously, because where Brooke is and the people like that.
And
but,
like you.
Well, I wanted to say that I think so much about these books and I have that knowledge in my head, but I really don't have great application. And that's where it comes to everybody else. You can hold it, all that information in, you can learn as much as you can, but until you apply it, that's your number one goal. And that becomes that professional aspect. I mean, you can be a poser because you're thinking about all these things, it's just hoping for it. You can be the amateur up until the time where you take the point and actually do income producing hours, and you actually turn that, all that good, positive excitement, enthusiasm, and knowledge that you're learning along the way, learn while you earn. If you can't turn that into income producing hours, it's really that short, really small step that you have to take to become that professional.
I think when you recognize that, that's the moment where you change from amateur to professional. When you recognize, yes, I'm learning a bunch, but how much am I applying? And that's when you challenge yourself. You get out your planner and you write specific people's names on certain days that you're going to reach out to, or you block out a power hour of time that you're going to follow up with certain people, or you really be intentional about expanding that network. It's so important. You can sit here and nod your head while you're reading this and go, oh yeah, great point. Yep, I've seen that. But you're right. Until you figure out a way to actually apply what you're learning, you're gonna be at a standstill. Erin, you've got your hand up. There you go.
Yeah, so to go along with kind of what Micah just said, right before on page 23, this really stuck out to me and I marked it up, but I liked where he says, you know, there's a phrase in our profession that does more harm than good, and it's the ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. And I don't know why that really struck a chord with me, but it made me realize, you know, I have a lot of enthusiasm and I have a big fire, but I could definitely do more to learn more about our products, and B, learn more about how I can reach out better. Like, you know, so he says it's great to have enthusiasm, but eventually you need to marry that passion with skill. And I've marked that like 1,000 times because I have the passion right now. And, you know, I'm seeing results as I go along, but I definitely need to, and, you know, I need to teach my team to marry that passion with skill. And some of my team, I need to get passion, but, you know, that just comes, I think, with time and over more experience with them. But I really appreciated those couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, anybody else have anything before we start talking about skill number 1? Wait, do I have a chat comment? Somebody said I have a few, and I don't know who that was. Emily.
I had like one more thing I wanted to point out that I can't find it now, of course, because I didn't have a pen when I was reading, is that you can still have both careers. Like he mentioned, like, I am a doctor, I'm a professional, you know, doctor, and I'm also a professional network marketer. Like, you don't have to leave one behind to pursue the other. They can both.
That's the very end of chapter 2. I appreciated that too, because it also, it starts making the career and the profession more well-known and less of a stigma when they're putting it with these kinds of successful people that dabble in other things, you know, that maybe they're dabbling in network marketing or it appears that way, but they're also a profession in this field, or, you know, it's just be proud that, I'm a teacher by trade, but I'm also a network marketer. I love helping people find better health or, you know, financial freedom. That's cool, to be able to say that and just let people know, like, look, I found a better way, because you know what, sometimes plan A goes out the window. I have a really good plan B, and maybe your plan B grows big enough where it becomes your plan A. Mm-hmm. Or life happens and all of a sudden it has to become your plan A. Mm-hmm. All right, so chapter 4, we're finally in the first of the 7 skills, finding prospects. This is an area where I feel like a lot of people on my team are at a point where they seem to be doing all the right things, but it's time to expand that audience. So finding more prospects is really hard. And it's something that I continue to work on. I posted just a couple days ago in my team page about how I specifically went through my people you may know suggestions on Facebook, and I sent friend requests to 10 people that I genuinely would like to get to know. There are other PTA moms or, people that I know I would have a connection with. Pre-Plexus, I was happy with my little handful of friends and, didn't want to make efforts to grow that or invest in other relationships. That seems like work. That's the introvert in me coming out. But now I'm like, I look for excuses to build relationships with people. And that's what is so cool in this chat, how much he talks about that importance of finding quality people, but building up quality relationships with them, not just seeing people as a dollar sign. Oh gosh, I loved this. 80% of people who join network marketing hope they will get lucky versus treat it as a career. This is something that really rings home. Like when you're looking at our income disclosure statement and you see the jewel level, sure, it's a tiny percentage, and you've got all those people who say, oh, there's so few people actually make it to the top. Now, in certain compensation plans, that's the case because the comp plan is such that it's hard for people to get there. If you're in an awesome company and the right company like we are in Plexus, that's really not the case. But the thing that skews the numbers more are really about that. The people who join as the poser, thinking they're going to get lucky. Sure, I know 3 people, and when those 3 people tell me no, see, network marketing doesn't work. Well, that's not putting in an effort. That's not really working the business. That's not really going for it. If you had to take out a business loan for something, you would be putting more effort to be sure that you succeeded. And people just don't treat this the same. But if they treated it that way, you would see the numbers where more people hit Ruby, Senior Ruby, Emerald, and above. So it's not that the numbers are so small at the top because it's not possible. It's because the people who join are really just looking at it as a lottery ticket. They're not willing to treat this like a career. And if you're doing a book study like this, you're going to be those people who are less likely to quit when it's hard, because it is hard. But yeah, developing these skills is so important. And your job is really, you have to find ways to meet more people. Let's see, we talked about, in amateurs, let's say they make a list of 100 prospects, all that. That sounds familiar, right? That sounds like when we tell you to make your Franks list and we hope that you have 100 names on your list. That's still at the amateur level. What you've got to realize is that each one of those people you write down, well, they each have a network themselves. They have their neighbors, their family members, their coworkers, the people they used to go to school with. It's not just about the people you know, it's about the people that they know also. And then I really loved, what does he call it? It's not, what does he call the list? About constantly expanding your list. Oh,
it's the active candidate list. Oh, sorry.
I love that because, first of all, the word active, it's constantly evolving. You're always adding to it. And if you're not, then and you find that your business is at a standstill right now, then that should be your first assignment, is really developing the skill, finding ways to connect with people. I loved that quote from that dude. Let's see. I want you to take every person you meet, get their contact information, and find a creative way to stay in touch. That's relationship marketing right there. And that's what we do. It's not get their contact information so that you can speak Plexus in private messages to them. It's find connections with people and develop that. And then you've got way more opportunities for open doors to share your product, share your business, figure out a way to help them, figure out where there's a fit. So I loved that. Yeah, commit to never stop adding to that list. That list should constantly be evolving. All right, who else? What were some things that stood out to you about this particular skill, or maybe an idea that came to mind about what you can specifically do to expand your network, to find new prospects, and to keep growing your list?
At our Super Saturday in Philly, one of the presenters, I can't remember their names, was saying that she posted and tagged her mother when her mother retired. Mm-hmm. She tagged her mother in a post and then friended every single person of her mother's friends that liked or commented on it because they commented or liked on her post. So she felt it was okay to friend request them. I thought that was brilliant. So randomly tagging somebody outside of our Plexus world in a post, and then when their friends comment or tag you, I've been sending them friend requests to get because I don't have a very big Facebook network. Mm-hmm. That never occurred to me. I'm like, oh, that's so easy and smart.
Yeah, especially if it's a family member. I know a lot of people do that, like for their spouse. They may tag their husband in something, so then his network is seeing it and commenting on it. Family members are great for that. Or like if you've got a neighborhood block party or something and you post pictures from it, make sure you tag everybody that's there in it, and make it something where people, it would be something that people would be commenting on, whether you've got one of those, the little photo booth stuff that are like those kinds of things are everywhere now. So post those kinds of things and tag those friends in there, and then engage with people, interact. That's a great idea. Noelle has her hand up. All right, wait, I think you're unmuted. There.
I always friend people on there, but I kind of came to a standpoint of who else was like an appropriate friend. And I went with my coworker, my assistant, and I went on her page. And then I went to friends, and then they suggested friends that I should have in common with her, which was very helpful to me. They were all my star parents, my tumbling people. And so I was able to friend a whole bunch of people that my Facebook wasn't even telling me. So if you have a close friend or a family member, if you go to their page and look at
their friend list.
Yeah, because Facebook gives you suggestions from their page.
That's great. And, just in the last couple of days since I sent a friend request to those additional people and some of them being on PTA, now all of a sudden I have these other parents who are also in our school because they're friends with them. We have a mutual friend now, and they're showing up in my suggested stuff. So yeah, that's a great idea.
And the other thing.
Oh yeah.
Like 4. Can I say this?
Yeah.
Okay. Step 4, how it says that you have to venture out into a new world and get a new hobby, find a new way to volunteer or to connect, go to a different gym. Micah likes to gym hop, trying to meet different people. But you do have to get out of your everyday routine and the places that you always go to and look to be able to meet different people that way.
It's true. You've got to be intentional about it, and that might not be in your nature. It wasn't in mine, but it's something that I'm branching out and having fun, honestly. So a couple nights ago, actually at the PTA meeting, one of the other moms was talking about her Instant Pot and how much she loves it. And so me of 3 years ago would have just sat back and been like, that's nice. And I put myself in their conversation and said, I have so many friends who are talking about their Instant Pot right now on Facebook. And she said, well, I'm going to be inviting a bunch of ladies over, and we're going to show some different recipes. Like everybody's going to, those who already have one are going to bring their Instant Pot. We're going to do some stuff. and we're gonna, show that. So, so I said, I'd love to come to that. Can I join in? And I knew one of the moms that was in that, so it wasn't quite so super creepy. But that's something I would never have done 3 years ago. But it's a win-win thing. I'm going to be making new friends. It's probably going to be a really fun night. Going to get some fun new recipes. I'm going to figure out if I want to end up buying this Instant Pot that my whole Facebook feed keeps talking about. Find some things that's fun. But I'm absolutely going to be friending everybody there that night for sure when that happens. But yeah, finding a hobby, finding your niche, joining more Facebook groups. If you're a crocheter, find a Facebook group about that. If you're a homeschooling mom, there's always support groups for everything. And when I'm saying like join these pages, it's not to then like spam the page. It's about making connections with people, friending them, having connections outside of that, and then them seeing all your great social media posting that you're doing too. That's important. Let's see.
I think hashtagging is really important too, and I'm just learning. I'm really not technically apt about much. I'm just learning about hashtags and the importance of using them and which ones you're using. People actually go to the pages and find you through those.
Yeah,
if no idea.
If it's a holiday, like it's 4th of July, and you're, maybe you've got your pink drink and you're next to the lake or something, you post a picture about that, and you make sure you use a hashtag that's like 4th of July or Independence Day, because people who are going to, that's something that's going to be trending at that point. People who find that, then they may also stumble upon your thing, upon your post. Now, there's, let's see, besides holidays, I mean, there's lots of things where it's, you can even go to like the side of your Facebook feed that shows what topics are trending right now. Mm-hmm. Figure out a way to incorporate one of those into one of your posts and hashtag that, and you're gonna get more people. Now, you would need to make sure that your post wasn't set for only friends. It would need to be public. If you truly want to really expand, like people that you don't know. But you can change settings on every post, whether you want it to be just friends or public and things like that. So typically, if I've got my kids in a post, I keep it friends only, but there's a lot of things that I do public. And so that's a smart thing to hashtag and figure out ways to get more people to see your stuff. Amy, your hand was up. Did you have something? Amy Romberger?
Yes. Am I on?
Yes, you're on. There you are.
Okay, first Zooming here.
Is this your first Zoom?
I think we Zoomed once before, but I don't think I talked. So a couple of the things that I know, like I just did, I don't know how many of you were aware, I just did the probiotic experiment, and I made sure I ran that last weekend. And so I actually had one of my coworkers, one of my teacher friends, come up to me earlier in the week, and she's like, "What were you doing with that pudding?" She said, "I didn't have time to talk about it." Like, she said, "I didn't have time to read anything." She said, "But what were you doing?" So I'm following up with her tomorrow, and she had 2 types of probiotics at home, so I might be running it again this weekend. I don't know. So it's just like, think of those things that we've seen and kind of, do them for yourself and try to figure out another way to incorporate some more people in those different types of things. Because like, I always was like, okay, that's really kind of cool, but how and why and what's it doing? And I actually got, I just put a search out and I said, "Hey, I'm looking for probiotics. Does anybody have one?" And one of the ones that was donated to me from PTO, she's going to order probably this weekend. So she wasn't looking to, order, and we've never even really talked about Plexus, but, it's just those different types of things, and just be strange and be you and be honest, and hopefully that's what draws people to you. So
that's a great point, because something that you post that could just raise their curiosity. What is this that's going on? You've got an open door now that maybe wouldn't have been there before trying that. So that's really good. Let's see. Anybody else have something about, or maybe a specific idea about what you're going to do, or maybe a way to hold yourself accountable to just expanding your list? Now, he said we're not really getting into yet what we're going to be doing with these lists, but the important thing is to just always know that you should always be expanding your list and write those names down, and especially focus on getting their contact information. It's really great to meet people and be more friendly, but if you don't have a way to follow up and connect beyond that one conversation, then you're kind of stuck. You haven't really done much. You've become a little more comfortable with talking to a new person, but you don't have a way to follow up with them unless you say right there on the spot, hey, can you friend me on Facebook? Or do you have a business card? I can follow up with you on something, and maybe we can schedule a play date, like if you're at the park with your kids. If it can't just be, gosh, I feel like that probably was a good connection, but if it was meant to be, maybe we'll cross paths again. Like, you've got to have a way to follow up or to build on that relationship. So ask them right there. If you went to Super Saturday and some of the role playing, they even showed saying, hand them your phone and say, can you find yourself on Facebook? I want to, send you a friend request. Maybe we can get together, or we can keep talking about whatever it was that you connected on. So that's good. Micah, is that you? Hang on.
I'm on now.
Oh, there you go. Now you're on.
Good.
Oh,
Sorry, we are.
frequency problem.
Okay, can you see me?
Maybe you should separate the two devices farther apart from each other.
Well, it's walking away from me. I should have left. Okay, where was that? Practice. Eric Worre might have said it in a later chapter, so I might be blurring lines here, but if you are struggling about your elevator speech, turn it into the best story that you have. Don't make it into a product infomercial. Make it into a story about you. Make it personal and practice it over and over again. Why did you get there? How you got there? And listen to people like Eric Worre and professional speakers, just how to connect with a person. So once you actually have a semi-decent idea of it, Merrick's yelling at me. Once you have a semi-decent idea about how to talk, can't get away. Then I took it to the next level, and a lot of people may not want to do this, but it really jacks up the heart rate and gets you going. You go to a gas station, you wait for one of those guys to come in with an out-of-state license plate, and you go up to him as a salesman. You just, hey, start looking at those stupid soft drinks in the coolers, but you're not going to buy one because, I got Plexus. Might get a pack of cheese or chips. I don't know. But somehow I did it several times, and if you want to break down those walls to talk to other people, that is a great way to not worry about what anybody's going to say to you, because you're never going to meet that person again. I have never got a lead from it. I've only done it maybe a half a dozen times, but it has made me more comfortable talking to anybody that I come in contact with, because especially the people at the gas station, I will walk up to people when I'm pumping gas and talk to the people next to me while I'm pumping gas. Now those people I might see because I see them at Costco all the time or something like that, and you might see them again. And we've had decent success with people being interested, but it's really trying to get your awareness. That's being professional. You're not trying to sell them on anything right away. You're supposed to educate and inform them. And so that's probably what I wanted to get it out there, practice, do it for yourself, but then get out there and really do it in front of people. You might not be a gas station and a complete stranger. It's totally up to you. Practice with your kids and your 2-year-old or the baby sleep, and just practice and get it more comfortable so you can say what that guy did in number 3. He went out there and talked to everybody that he came in contact with, and he was the 7-figure network marketer.
Yeah, role playing is a great way to practice. And then honestly, if that kind of stuff just terrifies you, then the best thing to do is to just practice talking to more people. Remove plexus from the situation completely. But just the next time in your grocery store checkout line, work the nerve up to just start a conversation with the person in front of you or behind you. Just talk to them. It does not matter what it's about. Talk about the weather. And the more you do things like that, the more comfortable you're going to feel talking to more and more people and prospecting more and expanding your network more, connecting with more people, because that's really what it's about. And then it's also going to just build your confidence to be able to do one of those really bold kind of situations where you feel the urge to share plexus on the spot with somebody. Those situations do come up, but yeah, it's important to develop those skills. And if you need to take baby steps outside your comfort zone to get there, then that's fine. Way before plexus, my oldest son, he's 10 now. But I saw from the very beginning that he was very, very, very shy, which is something that I was also. We moved about every 4 or 5 years growing up, and that helped me a lot, kind of have to get over, shyness and having to meet people. There was a few other things that helped me, but I saw in him, and I knew, even though it was never in my nature to strike up conversations with strangers, I was very intentional with him. We'd go to Target all the time. I would make it a point to really have a back and forth conversation, asking questions and stuff with the person that was scanning my stuff and checking us out. Because I wanted to be that example to him of what it was like to be friendly with somebody, to talk with more people, to make eye contact. Those were things that he was not comfortable with. And I didn't want something like that to hold him back. I wanted to set a good example for him, even though I completely understood where he was, because I was like, he's just another little version of me, but I wanted to set that example. And I have seen him grow. And I'm not saying that maybe everything that I did is the reason, but I recognize that that's an important thing that would serve him well in his life. And I had to force myself to do it because it wasn't in my nature. And remembering things like that has helped me expand and talk to more people and feel more comfortable inviting myself to an instant pot party. Those are things that I wouldn't have ever done before. So I don't know. I hope if what we're saying, scares you, then maybe remember what I'm saying right now and just taking the baby step, because the more you do it, you're going to see your comfort zone grows. But the action you're taking is what's most important. So the information in here is really good, but now figure out what's your niche, what's your hobby. Have you been wanting to volunteer? Have you joined a new church? What are some ways that you can meet people in your life that would serve you well, not just your plexus business, but just, create a happier experience. We're like the health and happiness company. So figure out other things that are going to bring you happiness, to surround you with people that you want to be around, and be the kind of person that others want to be around. And work on really being intentional with getting people's contact information, friending them on social media, and we're going to continue to develop some skills that then help you create, bigger connections and hopefully bring in some bigger business opportunities for you. So I want to challenge you to really focus on that. Does anybody else have an application or another way or idea that you'd want to share? Because otherwise it's about time we say goodnight.
I have one that I have found is really simple, and my other team members seem to be using it, and it works for them. Typically, when you're at a restaurant, you're going to have a conversation with your waiter or waitress. So they've already started a conversation with you because you have to decide what you want. They're coming back to your table. Right before you leave the restaurant, she's brought you your ticket. The fastest, easiest way I have found to engage a stranger, especially if you like them, if they've been a good waiter or waitress. It's a great way to say, hey, listen, we have to run really quick, but are you on Facebook? And have your phone ready. Have Facebook open on your phone, and get that. Little waitress the other day at Cracker Barrel, she's not on Facebook at all, but she had an email address. But it'll actually help kind of ease you into, if you're not a talker, and you don't meet people easily, you've already talked to this person. Just make sure you do it right before you leave. And it's just a really easy way to tell them, hey, I'm with a health and wellness company. I really don't have time to go into it, but I'd love to send you some information. It's that simple and that quick. And
absolutely, those personalities, they are used to, they're working for a tip. So they are that performance, which he talked about, like performance, careers are headed to that. They're already in the mindset. They know if I work hard for you, then there's going to, I'm going to get a better tip, things like that. So oftentimes their personalities are awesome. The wait staff is a perfect place to prospect. Or you can even just drop that line saying, you know what, you would be really great at what I do. I'd love to leave you a card. Can I get your information? Leave it at that. It sparks their interest of, I wonder what that is. That's great. I'm so glad you brought that up, Holly. Yes, those are often, they instigate conversations with you. So if you're scared,
and make sure you get their information. You just mentioned something that I think is really important is if you just hand someone your card and expect them to contact you, it isn't going to happen.
Yep.
1 in a million. You might find that that poser person that you're looking for. But
it's true. That's so true. There have been so many times
without their information.
Yeah, there's been a lot of times I just had to work up the nerve to give them my information. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. But then, I would fail to get theirs and I'd never hear from them. So, asking to either friend them on social media or get their contact information in some way, that's the key. And then follow through. That's a lead right there. Don't leave it behind. You've got to then, take that next step. You took one step, so take another. I love that. That's perfect. All right, now you all have an excuse to go out to dinner this weekend. It's homework. Okay, so I think we've already been talking like almost an hour. All right, so next week we are going to cover chapters 5 and 6, the next 2 skills. That's like 36 pages or something like that. So chapters 5 and 6, and we're going to meet next Thursday night. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out. I hope you find this valuable, but be intentional. Find some ways to prospect some new people this week. I want to hear about your creative ways that you met some new people. Connected with them, okay? All right, good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it.